At Thanksgiving, my dad told me, "You should take notes from your sister. At least she knows how to handle her own life without handouts." 5 seconds later, I exposed her biggest secret in front of everyone, and she's been trying to destroy me since. Hey Reddit, so this whole mess started at Thanksgiving when my sister decided to keep pretending she was this self-made success story, while I was the one secretly paying her bills. I kept quiet for months, but one dinner and one stupid toast changed everything. What came after? Let's just say the truth has a way of burning through every fake smile. Thanksgiving at my parents' house is always a performance. Not a family gathering, a full production. Relatives I barely recognize are laughing too loudly, pretending this family doesn't run on competition and judgment. I'm sitting 2 seats away from Megan, my sister, the family's favorite success story. She's in a cream-colored dress, perfect hair, perfect smile, phone half hidden under her napkin so she can snap candid photos for her social feed later. You'd think she was hosting the Oscars. Dad's at the head of the table. He's a cop, so he carries that don't mess with me energy even at dinner. He leans back, looks at Megan like she's his pride and joy, and says loud enough for the cousins to hear, "You should take notes from your sister. At least she knows how to handle her own life without handouts." And the table actually claps. I'm not kidding. Claps. I smile, but it's that quiet kind of smile you get before you drop a truth bomb. I let him have his moment, sip my water, then say, "Yeah, Dad, she's doing great. I guess that's why she doesn't mind the $1,500 I send her every month." It's like someone hit mute on the whole house. Forks stop midair. Megan blinks once, twice, and that picture-perfect smile falls apart. "What are you talking about?" she says. Fake laugh already warming up. "You're delusional." Dad's eyebrows pull together. He sets his glass down slow, that same motion he uses when he's about to write someone a ticket. "What's he talking about, Megan?" She stammers, looks right at me, then at everyone else, and says, "He's just jealous." I don't know what he's talking about. I lean back in my chair. Jealous? Sure. I'm jealous of all that rent money I've been sending you. Every first of the month, right on schedule. Mom immediately jumps in, voice sharp but shaky. "That's enough. Don't start something. Not today." Dad's glare swings my way. "Listen, you don't accuse your sister of lying in front of family. Apologize." I laugh. I couldn't help it. Apologize? For telling the truth? Megan's already crying. Well, trying to. No tears yet, just that actress voice she uses when she wants pity. He's always trying to make me look bad. He can't stand that I actually have a career. "Yeah," I say. "A career funded by my checking account." The silence is back, but this time it's angry. Dad stands up just enough to make the chair creak. "Enough. You're hurting your sister. If you can't be respectful, you can leave." And I look around the table. All these relatives who think they know us, all nodding like Dad's speech was gospel. Megan sniffles, dabs her eyes with a napkin. "All right," I say, pushing my chair back. "You want me gone? Fine." I walk past Megan, who's still pretending to cry, and head for the front door. The chatter starts again behind me. Soft whispers, chairs creaking, Mom saying my name like she's the victim. Outside, the cold hits my face like a wake-up call. I make it halfway down the driveway before I hear heels clicking behind me. "You just had to do it, didn't you?" Megan's voice. Sharp now, no fake sweetness left. I turn around. "Yeah, I guess I did. Sorry I didn't let you keep scamming the audience." She crosses her arms, jaw tight. "You think you're smart? You think exposing me makes you the hero here? You're just jealous, like always." "Jealous of what? Your imaginary success?" I ask. "Come on, Meg. I literally paid for your fake independence." Her face twitches, like she's deciding whether to cry or throw something. "You don't know what you've started," she says finally. "If you keep this up, I'll ruin your life." She takes a step closer, lowers her voice. "You think you're untouchable. You're not. Neither are you," I say. "And right now, you're standing on a pretty thin layer of ice." We stare at each other for a few seconds, her eyes burning with anger, mine just tired. Then she spins around and storms back inside, slamming the door behind her. I stand there a minute longer, just long enough to hear the muffled voices start up again from the dining room. I know exactly how the rest of that conversation will go. She'll play the victim. They'll coddle her. And I'll be the ungrateful son who ruined Thanksgiving. I get in my car, sit in silence for a second, and check my phone. No messages, of course. Just a new post notification from Megan's account. Grateful for family, growth, and the people who always believe in me. Thankful. Perfect timing. I shake my head and start the car. Somewhere between the turkey and the lies, Thanksgiving turned into a joke. And I was the only one laughing for the right reason. Driving home that night, I couldn't stop replaying the looks on everyone's faces. The shock, the awkward silence. Megan's "I'm the victim" act. It wasn't even anger anymore. It was disbelief. I kept asking myself how we even got here. How my sister went from begging me for help to gaslighting the entire family in 1 year flat. So yeah, let's rewind. It started about 5 months ago. Megan had just lost her job. The company downsized, or that's what she said. She called me crying one night, saying she didn't know how she was going to make rent. I felt bad. She sounded panicked. I asked what happened to the $20,000 Dad gave her earlier that year. "It's gone," she said. Gone. Just like that. Turns out she'd invested in herself. Some expensive online courses, a designer wardrobe for networking, and a few weekend getaways to clear her head. In other words, she blew it all on trying to look successful instead of actually being it. The worst part? She wasn't even scared of being broke. She was scared of Dad finding out. You have to understand, Dad's not the type to yell. He doesn't need to. He's a cop, and when he says something, you just feel it. His rules are like gravity. You don't break them unless you want to crash. Megan's always been his golden child in his eyes, the one who could do no wrong. If he found out she wasted his $20,000, that image would shatter. So she called me. Her backup plan. I remember sitting at my kitchen table, phone on speaker, while she explained her temporary situation. She swore she just needed help for a couple months. I was doing all right with my job at the time. Nothing crazy, but enough to cover bills and stash a bit away. So, stupidly, I said yes. I told her I'd transfer $1,500 each month until she was steady again. "Just until you land something new," I said. "Thank you, I swear I'll pay you back," she promised. Yeah, okay. The first few months were fine. She texted occasionally, said she was applying to jobs, that she had interviews lined up. I didn't question it. I wanted to believe she was trying. Then things started to look off. Her Instagram suddenly came back to life. Fancy brunches, client meetings at rooftop cafes, new clothes every week, a white leather bag that probably cost more than my rent. I didn't say anything at first. I figured maybe she found work. Then one night I saw a story she posted, a boomerang of her clinking glasses with friends, captioned, "Hard work pays off." Hard work? What work? I checked my bank app. Another $1,500 transfer pending. That was the moment it hit me. I wasn't helping my sister. I was funding her illusion. Next morning I texted her, "Hey, I think it's time to pause the transfers. You seem like you're doing fine now." She called me instantly, full panic mode. "No, no, no, please." It just looks that way. Everything you see online is fake. Borrowed outfits, tagged photos from events I didn't even pay for. I'm still struggling. I didn't know whether to laugh or feel sorry for her. "Megan, you literally just posted a $40 steak. That wasn't mine. I was just holding the plate." She was serious too. Then came the guilt trip. You know how strict Dad is. "If he finds out, I'm dead. Please, just a little longer." And I caved. Again. Because as much as she drove me insane, I didn't want to be the reason Dad found out and blew up her perfect life. So I kept sending the money. Month after month. I kept thinking she'd stop asking soon. That she'd grow up, get a grip, realize I wasn't her personal ATM. But every time I brought it up, she'd find a way to twist it. "You think I like asking you? You're the only one I can trust. It's not that much for you, right?" By the 4th month, even my patience had limits. I told her flat out, "This month's the last one. I mean it." She cried. Actually cried. Said she was finally close to getting a steady gig and just needed one more month to bridge the gap. I gave in. Again. Because I'm an idiot. Maybe a doormat. But not anymore. Then Thanksgiving happened, and there she was, sitting at the table, bragging about her independent life, soaking in praise while my money kept her lights on. No way was I going to sit there and let her play that role anymore. Not after everything. So when Dad raised his glass and toasted to how proud he was of her, that's when I snapped. It wasn't just about the money. It was the hypocrisy. The way she strutted around like she built everything herself while treating me like I was some jealous loser. She thought she could lie forever because I'd never call her out. She was wrong. And judging by the way she followed me out that night, eyes blazing, hissing that she'd ruin my life, I knew she wasn't going to just take the hit and move on. If there's one thing Megan can't handle, it's losing control of a story. And that night, I ripped the script out of her hands. I just didn't realize how far she'd go trying to rewrite it. The Monday after Thanksgiving felt weirdly quiet. By Tuesday it started. Megan texted first. "You blindsided me in front of everyone. You made me look awful. You humiliated mom and dad. I didn't answer. I wasn't interested in another episode of how Megan is the real victim. An hour later, another text. You know how dad gets. He's been calling me nonstop, asking where my money's going, asking for receipts. Are you happy now? Ah, there it was. The shift from guilt to blame. Turns out, after I left, Dad started keeping tabs on her, checking in, asking about her projects, wondering why her savings hadn't grown if she was so self-sufficient. She told me later he even asked for her credit card statements just to make sure she's being responsible. That's when she called me, voice low and venomous. You put me under a microscope. He's tracking everything I do now. Maybe he should have done that sooner, I said. You think this is funny? Kind of, I said. You spent months pretending to be a CEO, and now you're mad someone's asking for receipts? She hung up. That was the last time I heard her actual voice for a while. After that, everything came through texts, all one-sided, walls of paragraphs, whole essays about how I ruined her image and how people don't forget humiliation. I should have known that tone. That mix of pity and rage. It meant she was plotting something. Somewhere in that chaos, she'd managed to talk her way into a new job. Nothing fancy, just a probationary marketing role. But it gave her fresh coworkers, new gossip channels, and a chance to rebuild the image I'd shattered. A week later, I noticed something odd. 2 people from her company viewed my LinkedIn profile. Then another the next day. I didn't think much of it at first. Maybe curiosity, maybe gossip. Then one of my clients, a small design firm I'd been working for, suddenly paused our contract. No explanation. Just, we've decided to go in a different direction. Weird. 2 days later, another client did the same. Then I got a call from an old coworker. Hey man, he said. Just wanted to ask, are you okay? Yeah, why? He hesitated. Someone said you've been dealing with tax issues or something? I laughed. What? Number. He went quiet again. Yeah, Megan mentioned it at drinks. Said you've been struggling. I figured I'd just check in. That's when it clicked. She couldn't undo Thanksgiving, so she decided to make me look unstable instead. Jealous brother with issues, anger problems, money trouble. Paint me as the bitter sibling lashing out because I couldn't keep up. It was actually kind of genius, in a sick way. She knew people would believe her. She was charming, polished, and everyone already saw her as the one who had it together. Me? I was the quiet freelancer who didn't post my every move online. It wasn't hard to spin that into he's struggling. The next week was a slow-motion mess. My phone barely stopped buzzing, friends asking weird questions, clients getting nervous about continuing projects. One guy even said he'd heard I was under investigation. That one almost made me laugh. Megan really went all in. And just to confirm it, one of Megan's old classmates, a girl I'd met at her birthday party once, DM'd me out of nowhere. Hey, I don't know what's going on between you and your sister, but she's telling people you've been having breakdowns. You might want to watch your back. That text stayed on my screen for a while. Breakdowns, tax issues, jealousy. It was all strategic. Small lies, dropped in casual conversations, just enough to stick. I went from the brother who overreacted at Thanksgiving to the unstable brother who made up lies about Megan. And she did it without ever saying my name directly. It was impressive, honestly. If she'd put half that effort into a real job, she'd be running her own company by now. If she wanted to drag me down, I'd let her dig first. That's when I started pulling everything together. Because if she thought Thanksgiving was bad, she had no idea what embarrassment really looked like. I scrolled through her feed one night. Same fake confidence, same motivational captions. They'll doubt you until you prove them wrong. Keep shining, even when they don't clap. Yeah, cute. Her likes were dropping, comments too. Maybe people were starting to notice the cracks. She wanted to control the story. Fine, let her. If Megan wanted a war, she was about to find out I don't swing first. I build cases. That's what Dad used to say. If you're right, prove it. So that's exactly what I did. The next morning, I opened my laptop and spent hours gathering everything. Every Venmo transfer labeled utilities, every rent payment with her name in the memo, every single $1,500 deposit that left my account and landed in hers. I even pulled the screenshots of her thanking me. You're saving me. I swear I'll pay you back soon. It looked bad. Not for me, for her. When I stacked it all together, it didn't look like a favor anymore. It looked like a pattern. I compiled everything into one clean PDF, just raw numbers. Then I opened my email, attached the file, and typed in 2 recipients, Mom and Dad. No subject line, no text, just the file. I hit send and sat back. The wait was brutal. I didn't hear anything for almost a full day. No calls, no texts. Then, around 8 p.m., Dad's name lit up on my phone. One text. She'll see what lying will do to her. That was it. Just that one line. It was the first time I'd seen him angry at her instead of me. But the peace didn't last long. The next afternoon, someone started pounding on my apartment door like they were about to break it down. I checked the peephole. Megan. I opened it halfway, leaned against the frame. She was dressed up, like she came straight from one of her fake business meetings. But her face was red, eyes puffy, jaw tight. "You sent them those transfers?" she snapped. "Yep. You had no right." "I had every right," I cut in. "I paid for half the stuff in those statements." She laughed. One of those bitter laughs people do when they're cornered. "You went too far. You didn't just embarrass me, you destroyed me." "Funny," I said. "That's kind of your hobby." She stepped closer, finger pointed at my chest. "You think you're smart? You think this makes you the good guy? You have no idea what I can do." I met her stare. Calm. Unbothered. "You already tried," I said. "Didn't work." Her lip twitched. She wanted a reaction. I wasn't giving her one. She stood there for a second, shaking her head. "You'll regret this." "Probably," I said, "but not as much as you will." That shut her up. She stormed off down the hall, heels clicking like gunshots, muttering under her breath. I closed the door, locked it, and sat back down. For once, I didn't feel guilty. I actually felt relieved, like the fog had finally cleared. A few hours later, there was another knock. Softer this time. I opened the door expecting round two, but it was Mom. She looked tired, like she hadn't slept. She was holding a little grocery bag, probably an excuse just to come inside. "I brought you some leftovers," she said. I let her in. She set the bag on the counter and just stood there. "I saw the statements," she said quietly. "All of it." I didn't say anything. I wanted to hear where she was going with it. "She told us." Mom's voice cracked. "She told us she was helping you, that she was the one sending money." That actually made me laugh, and not the good kind. "Of course she did." Mom nodded slowly. I believed her. We both did. She's always been so convincing, you know? Always had an answer ready. "Yeah," I said. "That's her real talent." Mom sighed. "Your father's furious. He said some things I won't repeat. He's disappointed in her." She looked at me and said, "I am proud of you. I didn't see it before. How much you were doing. You've always been the one fixing things quietly." That almost hit harder than any insult could have. She sat down at my table, fidgeting with her hands. "I just wish you hadn't done it like that. Family things should stay in the family." "Mom, I tried." She built her whole life on my money, and no one believed me until I showed proof. Mom nodded. "I know. You did the right thing, even if it hurt." For a moment, it actually felt like things were okay. Not fixed, but understood. Then Mom said something that made it clear just how deep Megan's manipulation went. "She told people you were jealous because she stopped helping you. She said you made up that story about sending her money to make yourself look better." I froze. "She said that?" Mom nodded slowly. "Everyone believed her too. Even your father did for a while. That's why he defended her so hard." It was like the final puzzle piece clicking into place. Megan hadn't just been lying to our parents. She'd been running a whole campaign to make me the unstable one. While I was paying her bills, she was building a reputation off my silence. Mom stood up, grabbed her coat. "She'll face the consequences now. Your father's not playing around this time, but promise me you'll keep your distance for a while. Let her deal with this on her own." "Trust me," I said. "That's the plan." She gave me a small nod, then left, closing the door quietly behind her. I sat back down at my desk, staring at the folder still open on my laptop. Proof.pdf. It was weird. I should have felt victorious, but instead I just felt numb. Because now I finally understood the truth. Megan's lies weren't just about money. They were about identity. She couldn't survive unless she was the one being praised, and I was the one being pitied. And for the first time in my life, she didn't have either. A week after Mom's visit, things seemed almost normal. Work was picking up again. A few clients who'd paused projects reached back out, saying they wanted to resume. Still, I was done relying on freelance gigs alone. The chaos with Megan had shown me how fragile that setup was. So when a solid full-time offer came in later that month, I took it. I took it as a good sign. Maybe the rumors were dying off. Then, on a random Wednesday night, my girlfriend Claire showed up at my place. She looked pale and tense, phone clutched in her hand. I barely had time to say hey before she tossed it on the table and said, "What is this?" On the screen were screenshots, messages, photos, me at a cafe with a female client, A random old picture from years ago with some girl from college. Captions like, "You said you loved me, and you told me not to tell Claire." The account sending them had no profile picture, no name, just the initials MR. My stomach sank. "Let me guess," I said. "They came from someone with a lot of free time and a very expensive bag habit?" Claire's eyes narrowed. "You're saying this is Megan?" "I'm saying it's definitely Megan." And she sent voice notes too. I grabbed the phone and hit play. A distorted recording played, my voice saying, "You know I can't tell Claire." Except it wasn't my voice. It was spliced, stitched together from old calls and a few voice notes I'd left her months ago. She'd actually taken those clips and edited them to sound like a confession. I felt equal parts impressed and disgusted. "Wow," I said. "She's really putting her degree in manipulation to use." Claire just stood there, waiting. So I did what I do best, showed her proof. I pulled up the bank records, the emails, even a few texts between Megan and me where she literally thanked me for saving her. Then I showed Claire a text from Megan 2 weeks ago that said, "If you keep this up, I'll ruin your life." I looked at her. This is how she ruins people. She lies until you start questioning what's real. Claire sat down, quiet now. I could see her processing it. She's logical like me. She needs evidence. After a full minute, she finally said, "She really did all this because you told the truth?" "Yeah," I said, "because the truth cost her followers." She nodded slowly, then opened her phone and blocked Megan on everything. Messages, social media, even email. Then she looked at me and said, "I don't want her name mentioned again." "Fine by me," I said. "She's out of the family plan anyway." That night, I realized Megan wasn't just desperate. She was spiraling. And I didn't have to do a thing. Life was already catching up. 2 days later, Mom called, whispering like she was reporting a crime. "She got fired," she said. Apparently, Megan's boss found inconsistencies in her pay records. My guess? She'd been lying about her full-time status or inflating her role. Either way, she was done. By the weekend, her landlord started contacting her about late rent. Since she'd been using my money for so long, she didn't actually have a system to pay her bills. Every lie she built her life on started falling apart like a stack of cheap cards. It didn't stop there. Relatives started asking questions. The same people who clapped at Thanksgiving suddenly weren't clapping anymore. My Aunt Linda, who had practically worshipped Megan, sent me a text. "I owe you an apology. I should have believed you. I didn't know she was taking advantage of you like that." I didn't even know what to say. I just replied, "Better late than never." Then I opened Instagram. Her account was still up, but the vibe had changed. Old posts deleted, comments limited, a few awkward breakthrough captions like, "Sometimes you lose everything before you find peace." Yeah, sure, peace. By Monday, she'd gone radio silent. No calls, no posts, just gone. I figured maybe she'd finally learned her lesson, until my phone buzzed with a text from her at 2 a.m. "Happy now?" That was it. No hi, no explanation, just those 2 words. I stared at it for a while, thinking about how predictable she'd become. She wasn't asking for sympathy. She was trying to make me feel guilty again. Same old playbook. She built her whole world on appearances. The successful daughter, the confident influencer, the one Dad bragged about. But the truth has a way of catching up. And watching her empire collapse wasn't satisfying in the way I thought it would be. It wasn't victory. It was more like watching a car crash you tried to stop months ago. The damage was done. Still, part of me hoped this was the end, that she'd finally stop trying to fight ghosts and just own what she'd done. But deep down, I knew Megan. And people like her don't stop when they lose. They stop when there's nothing left to lose. And Megan was just about there. I hadn't heard from her for almost 2 weeks. No messages, no calls, nothing. Which, under normal circumstances, would have been great. But I've learned that when she goes quiet, it's not peace. It's plotting. I was at work one Thursday, halfway through lunch, when the front desk buzzed my office. "Hey," the receptionist said, "there's a woman here asking for you." I looked up. "Who?" "She said she's your sister. Should I send her up?" Before I could answer, I saw her through the glass lobby wall. Megan standing there like she owned the building, phone in hand, sunglasses on indoors. The kind of outfit that screamed, "I still have control." I took a slow breath. "Yeah, send her in." She walked into my office like it was a courtroom, and I was the defendant. "Nice place," she said, looking around. "Didn't realize freelancing paid this well." "I'm not freelancing anymore," I said. "Got a full-time position last month." That threw her off a little, but she recovered fast. "Good for you. You'll need it." She pulled out her phone, tapped a few times, and turned the screen toward me. Messages, screenshots, old ones. Some looked like they'd been edited. Things I said months ago about being frustrated, tired, or angry, chopped up to look like I was losing it. You know, she said, people would see this and think you're unstable. Maybe even dangerous. I raised an eyebrow. You really came to my job to blackmail me? She smirked. It's not blackmail if it's true. Half of those are missing context, I said. The other half are things you baited me into saying when you were pretending to be broke. Megan crossed her arms, trying to hold eye contact. You think anyone's going to believe that? I could send these to your boss, your clients, your girlfriend. People believe me, not you. I stood up slowly, walked around my desk, and stopped right in front of her. Calm, steady. Megan, I said, everything you've ever sent me, every payment, every lie, every text, it's all backed up, dated, labeled, and sitting on multiple drives. You're not winning this one. She blinked, her confidence cracking just slightly. You wouldn't dare. Try me. For a second, neither of us moved. Then she stuffed her phone back in her bag, muttering, "You'll regret this," and walked out. I waited until she disappeared down the hall before I sat back down. My hands were steady, my heart wasn't. I knew she was desperate now, and desperation makes people reckless. Sure enough, that weekend, I got an alert from one of my old freelance accounts. Unusual login attempt detected. The security email even listed the city, the same one she'd been tagging in her stories. It wasn't just one. There were 3, all from the same city Megan had been visiting a lot lately. I checked the IP logs and almost laughed. She was getting sloppy. I changed all my passwords, added 2-factor authentication, and locked everything behind digital walls she couldn't climb. Then I waited. 2 days later, Mom called again. Her voice was tight, like she was trying not to explode. Your father talked to Megan. That didn't sound good. What about? The $20,000 he gave her, she said. He wants it back. I almost choked. Wait, he's actually demanding it? Yes. He told her if she doesn't pay it back within 6 months, she's out of the will. I whistled low. Guess the golden child's shine finally wore off. Mom sighed. He also took back the car. It was in his name, and he said if she can't pay for it, she doesn't get to keep it. For once, I didn't even have a sarcastic comeback. I just sat there, processing it. Dad had never punished her before. Ever. She's furious, Mom said, blaming everyone but herself. I'm staying out of it. Good idea, I said. She made this mess. Let her clean it. After we hung up, I checked Megan's socials again. Not out of curiosity, just habit. Her Instagram was silent. Her LinkedIn? Gone. Deleted or deactivated. She was vanishing in real time. It wasn't fun to watch. It wasn't satisfying either. It was just sad. Like seeing a magic trick exposed. Once you know the trick, there's no awe left. Then, late one night, my phone buzzed again. A new message. Megan. You think you've won? You haven't. You ruined everything. Don't act like the hero. I stared at the screen for a while, then typed back slowly. I never wanted to be the hero. I just wanted the truth out. She didn't reply. A few minutes later, I typed one last message. If you try this again, the hacking, the lies, the threats, I'll expose everything. Family, job, landlord, all of it. I'm done being quiet. Delivered. Read no response. That was the last message I sent her. The next few days were silent. No notifications, no gossip, no more fake accounts trying to mess with my life. For the first time in months, I felt something close to peace. Not because she'd given up, but because I finally meant it. I wasn't scared of her anymore. Let her delete her accounts, hide behind friends, play the victim. It didn't matter. Her kingdom was gone, and I didn't have to lift another finger. She built her whole world out of lies. All I had to do was stop holding it up. The following weeks were quiet. Then one Friday night, around 9 p.m., there was a knock on my apartment door. 3 short taps. Not loud, not timid either. I looked through the peephole, and for a second, I didn't recognize her. Megan. No makeup, no fancy clothes. Hair pulled back messily. Hoodie, old sneakers, jeans with holes that weren't designer this time. She looked human. I opened the door halfway. You're either here to confess or steal my Wi-Fi. Which is it? She gave a small, tired smile. Confess, I guess. I didn't move aside, so she didn't try to come in. She just stood there, eyes sunken like she hadn't slept in days. I'm not here to fight, she said quietly. I just needed to say something. Go ahead. She took a breath. It's all gone. The job, the car, the apartment, everything. I didn't say anything. I just watched her talk. I lied, she said, to everyone. About the job, about the money, about helping you. I thought if I could just keep it going long enough, I'd figure out how to make it real. She rubbed her face with her sleeve, voice shaking but not fake this time. I'm staying with a friend now, on her couch. I owe rent, and I can't even afford to buy groceries. I thought I'd hit bottom before, but I think this is it. Still, I didn't move. Not to comfort her, not to lecture her. I just let her talk. I was so scared of being a failure, she said, looking at the floor. Dad's always been proud of me, and I couldn't stand the idea of him seeing me like I actually am. So I kept lying. And then you called me out, and instead of admitting it, I doubled down. Tripled down, I corrected. That actually got a weak laugh out of her. Yeah, tripled, maybe quadrupled. Silence stretched between us. For the first time, she wasn't performing. No dramatics, no excuses, just regret. I'm not asking for money, she said quickly. I'm not even asking for forgiveness. I just wanted you to know I get it now. You were trying to help me and I made you the enemy. I hurt you. I lied about you. I ruined your reputation. Her voice cracked then, and she looked away. I'm sorry. I really am. It wasn't the kind of sorry that tries to fix anything. It was the kind that comes after everything's already burned down. I nodded once. Good, I said. It's about time you said that. We stood there for a few more seconds. No yelling, no tension, just two siblings finally out of lies. Call me tomorrow, I said quietly. We'll talk then. She nodded. Okay. Then she turned and walked down the hallway, shoulders slumped, like someone who finally stopped trying to look taller. When the door shut, I just stood there, staring at it. For the first time in months, I didn't feel angry. I didn't feel victorious either. Just done. The next morning, Dad stopped by. That alone was strange. He never comes over unannounced. He stood in the doorway like a man rehearsing a speech. She told me everything, he said. I didn't answer, just waited. He sighed. I owe you an apology. I should have believed you from the start. I was too busy protecting her image to see what she was doing. That's new, I said. Dad admitting he's wrong. He gave me a look. Don't push it. Then his tone softened. You did the right thing, but you also enabled her for too long. You should have stopped sending that money months before you did. I know, I said. I just didn't want to see her fall apart. I thought I was helping. He nodded. I get that, but sometimes helping just delays the crash. There was a long pause before he said, She's going to need time. I'm not bailing her out again. She's on her own this time. Good, I said. That's what she needs. He nodded once, firm, then added quietly, I'm proud of you. Not for exposing her, for finally standing your ground. I didn't really know what to say, so I just said, thanks. After he left, I sat on the couch, staring at the same door Megan had walked through the night before. I knew she was out there somewhere, sleeping on someone's couch, probably replaying all the lies in her head, and for the first time in her life, there was no backup plan. I didn't forgive her. Not yet. Maybe not ever. As for me, I finally felt peace. Not the kind that comes from winning, but from knowing I didn't let her rewrite who I was anymore. She could rebuild if she wanted to. Or not. It wasn't my problem anymore. For the first time in years, I wasn't the fixer, the backup plan, or the quiet brother holding things together. I was just me, and that was enough. YouTube just dropped this new hype feature. If you're hooked on this story, smash that hype button. It tells YouTube this video deserves to blow up, and it keeps even crazier stories coming your way.